So, so to send Bitcoin, you have to first have Bitcoin, and otherwise a chicken and egg question. How do you get Bitcoin without? How do you send it without having any? So traditionally, I think there's only two basic ways to get. There's actually three basic ways to get Bitcoin. The first is to mine Bitcoin. So this is the very original traditional method. So Bitcoin has a system called mining, which allows people to get Bitcoin by doing these computations with their computers. So unfortunately, Bitcoin has been around so long. Now the mining is actually very difficult in the sense that you need a lot of high-powered computers, spend a lot of resources to mine your Bitcoin. So this is basically not practical anymore for normal people. The second way is to get Bitcoin through payment for goods and services. So if you sell something, if you offer some services, you can ask to be paid in Bitcoin. So depending on the buyer or the customer, if they want to pay in Bitcoin, you can receive Bitcoin that way. And the third and most convenient way to get Bitcoin is to actually buy it. So this would be somewhere, the idea would be for you to buy Bitcoin from an exchange, from a company, from a sort of a network, or you buy from an individual who's willing to sell you Bitcoin, and then you can just negotiate the price. But traditionally, people buy Bitcoin at the so-called market price. The market price of Bitcoin is what the exchanges are trading at. So today, Bitcoin, for example, is trading around $30,000 per Bitcoin. So if you want to spend, let's say you really want to spend $30,000, then you'll get one Bitcoin. Or you can spend, let's say, $300 or even $3,000 and get either 1/100th of a Bitcoin or 1/10th of a Bitcoin. So you could buy Bitcoin that way. And there are many exchanges all around the world. All the exchanges are local to the country and jurisdiction. And the reason is that the Bitcoin exchanges or cryptocurrency exchanges are by default tied to the local currency. So if you're in America, in the US, you would have to find an exchange that supports US dollar services. If you're in Europe, you would find an exchange that supports the euro standard. And if let's say you're in Singapore, you would find an exchange that supports the Singapore dollar, or in Japan, it would be the Japanese yen, and so on and so forth. So depending on which country you are, which region, you would find an exchange that caters to your local market. And from that, you could set up an account online, and you could deposit money into the exchange through the traditional banking transfer methods or credit card, whatever the exchange accepts. And then on that exchange, you would ask to buy Bitcoin. And then once you have the Bitcoin, you could take it out and put it in your wallet.
Okay. So I guess, could you elaborate a little bit more in depth on how exactly the process looks like for sending and receiving Bitcoin once you've kind of found the exchange that's appropriate to your region?
Yeah, so after you've acquired your Bitcoin, you can send it. And the way to do that is through the wallet. So whatever wallet you use, some people use software wallets, they use wallets on their mobile phone, they use hardware wallets, electronic wallets, or even they might use a custodial wallet that's on an exchange. So it will be highly dependent on which wallet you use. And whatever wallet you have, it will usually provide a software interface, allow you to specify who to send the Bitcoins to, what amount to send it to, and then you can just make sure you confirm it, because once Bitcoins are sent, they cannot be recalled or canceled or nullified, right? That's the whole point about these, what they call irreversible payments, okay? So it's very important that you double check the amount and then who you're sending it to. Make sure the destination account and address is precisely correct and there are no errors. And make sure you're not being scammed. So that's another error where people, some people use social engineering to scam you, to ask you to make a payment, either to your friend or family or someone you think you're doing the right thing, but in reality, the Bitcoin is being sent to a thief, to a scammer, and then you would lose it if that happened. So please double check who you're sending it to, why you're sending it, just to make sure. And in terms of receiving Bitcoin, the way to do that is each wallet you use would provide a receiving address. So if you want to receive some Bitcoin, it will give you an address. It's a very long string of digits and numbers and letters, right? Uppercase, lowercase sometimes. And then that is your Bitcoin address, and you would provide that to the sender, and they would then send the Bitcoin to your address. And then once you get it, once they're done sending it, in your wallet you would see the account balance. Yeah.
So it's just as simple as, probably, it seems like it's a little bit more simple than using Venmo almost, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, those are all centralized payment systems. So you can send to someone's phone number, send to someone's email address. send it to someone's account user ID, stuff like that. But with Bitcoin, you can only send and receive to a specific Bitcoin address. So I would, better or worse, it depends on the use case, but it's definitely a different experience.